Wrestle Addict Radio HQ, representing kings of the rings to the fullest. King Ricky made the hot tag to Willie T, and out of nowhere like Randy is the Queen Bee. K-Fay brother, 400 plus in the bag like money in the bank brother. See when they pod, it's the opposite of common. Look at the comments, crowned in a certified top 10. You heard? Kings of the Rings pod. Throw up a too sweet when you see the squad. Like a chop in a, I know you feel it. Kings of the Rings are the illest. Kings of the Rings are the illest. Kings of the Rings are the illest.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long and winding road. We've ranted with End, we've gone all elite, we've had a gift of podcasts, we've had shoot styles, we've had bracing for impact, we've talked to young lions and had a vision of their perspective. We've done it all. We've gone through banks of Daves and royal banks of rosés. We've had Valkyries fly in and cause an immense amount of chaos. And yet, through all of it, we made it to episode 400. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the milestone episode of Kings of the Rings podcast, episode 400. I am your host, King Ricky Rose. Thank you guys for joining us on this monumental episode. It's going to be a fun time, a great time. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff and go through a lot of memories. But before we do any of that, let me introduce everybody else that is going to be on the show with us. Actually, we got to start off with the founder, the proprietor, the reason that this thing even exists, and the reason that he now has to stretch a little bit because he finally turned 30. Will Tarashak, how are you?
Oh God, I'm in physical therapy, and this physical therapist just did a number on my upper back the other day.
Yeah.
And it goes like this stabbing motion with their thumb, and I was like, oh God, it hurts, but it feels so good. And I'm sick, so there's a lot going on over here. In the formerly known as Tarashak Towers. We also had Towers.
We had Towers, Frat House Wrestling. We had the Embassy. We recorded live from New Orleans. Orlando was me and Dave. Dave's house, my house, your apartments. So
it has been a long 10 years.
Yes,
and this is going to be on my gravestone. Did 400 episodes of a wrestling podcast. It's going to be there. Probably because I'm not going to live to 40 because I'm fucking sick. Kay Murphy, how are you feeling? Happy 400.
Welcome back,
Happy
K-Fay.
400. I'm so glad to be back. I'm feeling very inspired for our new era. These next 100 episodes. I can't wait to see what's up for us. And yes, I was recently featured on HGTV because I have been manically redecorating my whole apartment.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And shout out to our special guest Freckles, who is here tonight as well. Hello, Freckles.
Yes, Miss Freckles, the greatest intern Kings of the Rings podcast has ever had, having a seat on the blue couch behind me.
It's a shame Slack is not here to
Freckles
defend
is
himself.
Special guested more than Slack.
Honestly, Freckles would probably win. Considering
For most times, a special guest potentially.
Yeah, she was
very,
in
very
every
true.
COVID episode.
Yes, she was. She was in every COVID episode. So yeah, I understood you guys could not hear our intro. We're gonna fix that in post. When I do the edit of the show and cut out all the live stuff that we did, you guys will actually hear the music from our new intro with the beat made by my friend A.O. Baker of the Signature Move Show. So our apologies about that. We're still kind of working out the kinks on this new setup we have here. We are still live on YouTube. We are live on Twitch, and we also live on Facebook. If anybody still uses that thing, maybe an AI bot is watching us right now.
This be called Kinks of the Rings.
Listen, don't steal the Rock storyline, please.
Oh, kinky.
Stealing souls and whatnot. But before we get into all of our 400 celebration stuff, we got to go through the weekend wrestling. And there's a big event coming up this week known as the Elimination Chamber. Before all that, we found out that we're probably going back to New Orleans next year. The scene.
Well, hey, maybe I will do my bachelor party in New Orleans.
Yes,
I want to suggest it as the honeymoon so bad.
It's not a bad idea, okay. But ladies and
Isn't
gentlemen,
it a great idea?
it is.
She's never been. She
Really?
doesn't hear me. Yes.
On Mania weekend? Jesus,
Oh,
Kay.
God.
Goodness. Anyway, folks, The Rock came on. Rock showed up in New Orleans, coming out to Lil Wayne, The Block is Hot. Yes, that was a Lil Wayne song that no one remembers if you're, like, just turning 30. That's you, Will.
Yeah, I had no idea. I don't listen to Lil Wayne.
Yes.
That's really sad.
Young Wayne was great. Anywho, The Rock came back on, and The Rock came and said, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm in New Orleans right now, and we're coming back to New Orleans for WrestleMania 42. This is going to be the third time that New Orleans has hosted the WrestleMania, with the last one being WrestleMania 34, all the way back in 2018, which Will and I were there. That's where we met Rant with Dan and had that spectacular photo on the balcony, thanks to Antisocial Kim. There's a little cheap plug there. And that was the
One of
beginning.
the best weeks of my life.
Yeah.
God damn, that week was so much fun.
Yeah. And the savior of that week was Dave. And we cannot forget that. The savior. We were at Smiley that week. We bumped into Elias. We partied with Ricochet. We found out that Giovanni Vinci is a bad tipper. So things like that. So
yeah.
Saturday, April 11th and Sunday, April 12th will be WrestleMania in New Orleans 42. I'm more than down to go. This might actually end up being a road trip. I think Charles may be joining us for Spencer. Will, are you down to come back to New Orleans?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's going to come on looking at pricing. It's going to be a game time decision for sure, because WrestleMania this year is very expensive. Granted, it is Las Vegas. But it's not going to get any cheaper. So we'll see where the Bank of Will is this time next year.
Yeah,
Willy
Wonderland.
I mean, it's going to be very hard to say no to New Orleans. I love the city of New Orleans.
Yeah.
At least the French Quarter.
You gotta see more.
Going into God's cereal bowl and watching wrestling is just it's mesmerizing.
Yeah, the pictures and the aerial shots of a Superdome, I've been in the Superdome twice, do not do it justice. When you walk into that thing, and Will and Dave were on risers, which I'll never do again. But we were on.
I was gonna say, let's not do risers. I'm glad we did it once, but you don't need to do it again.
Yeah, you do not. Sit in a real seat, people. Walking into that dome is awe-inspiring. Like it does, like the size.
We walked through the tunnel because we walked through the tunnel onto the field.
No, we weren't on the field. We came down. We were sitting by the tunnel.
Oh, that's right.
We were in an end zone.
We came down. Yeah, that's right. We're in an end zone. That's right.
Yeah, it doesn't do it justice. And the city of New Orleans, in essence, is also, it might be the perfect WrestleMania town. You have a walkable city.
Yep.
You have Bourbon Street. You have wrestlers on their downtime walking through Bourbon Street with you. Like, we met Ricochet at a bar the night before he debuted in NXT.
That's cool.
You know, so
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And then he died in that ladder match.
He died in the ladder match. You know, it's a crazy town. There's always a party. The food's excellent. The walking with a bunch of marks down Bourbon Street is phenomenal.
It also wasn't that expensive from what I remember.
New Orleans is a very cheap town, cost of living wise.
Yeah.
You know.
I went to New Orleans 2 years ago, and I ate so good, and I feel like it was such a cost-effective trip.
Yeah, we had a really nice dinner with those random dudes. Well, you remember? We went to some random restaurant.
Vaguely.
Did you go?
Yes.
Did you go? I forgot the name of the restaurant, and I feel like
Cafe
it's such
Du Monde?
a dip. No. I love Cafe Du Monde, though. There's a restaurant.
We did not go.
I love Cafe Du Monde. We went every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Cafe Du Monde tote bag that I use every day. But there was a restaurant, and I don't remember the name of it, but they invented Bananas Foster, and it was probably one of the best like dining experiences I've ever had. It was delicious. Like, I didn't have a single bad meal down there.
Yeah, I know. I think Will and I, like the first weekend, the first night we were there, or the first real morning we were there, we went to some random breakfast place. You had biscuits and gravy for the first time.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
oh, I love biscuits.
He wouldn't
and
shut up
gravy.
about it.
Yeah. And it was a cart. It was like one of those street meat.
No. We sat down at a bar in a restaurant somewhere.
Maybe that's when we first got in. After we checked in, we went and got street meat, like a po' boy.
Something like that. When we went to.
And the next morning, because I do remember that cafe. We went to the cafe the next morning.
Yeah, we went to my friend's
po' boy's
bar
the
when we
first
came
thing
in.
I ate.
Yeah, that place
That's right. Then we also went to your friend's bar.
Went to my friend's bar, which is right off of Bourbon, which is great. And then so when we ran into Christina for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. R.I.P. to that relationship. Her husband still likes us.
That's very true. That's very true.
So I'll take the win.
Yeah,
I'll take the win when I can get it.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on there. Be it as it may, WrestleMania 14 New Orleans. I'm very excited for it. I am very much looking forward to this because I'm going to try to remember most of WrestleMania 40 next time. Because when Smiley put that video in our Discord, I was like, I don't remember saying half of this stuff, but
Yep,
I know I
same.
said it.
It's been said.
Yeah, it's said. It's a lot funnier than what I thought. But moving on to what we're actually here for, Elimination Chamber is emanating from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Saturday, March 1st at the Rogers Centre, but all of us old folks, not Will, you'll call it the Sky Dome. And speaking of which, this is the first major WWE event in the Sky Dome since WrestleMania, I think 18, where it was Icon versus Icon, Hogan versus Rock. So this is a big deal for the city of Toronto. I'm expecting a very, very raucous and crazy crowd for this because it's Canada, and Canada usually does wrestling rather well.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, you know. And it's also this Elimination Chamber in and of itself this year is loaded, because I was thinking about this. When is the last time we had CM Punk, John Cena, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Trish Stratus all on the same card?
Literally,
I'm
never.
probably going to tell you never, because I don't think it's ever happened.
It's like something you and Charles would make in my GM mode.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
You are absolutely correct. And I can't wait for that to come out too. So it's crazy. This is also going to be one of the first PLEs that WWE has done, I think, over 4 years, where there is no actual title defense going on this card.
God, if only they had more titles to highlight and showcase.
What? I mean, they could put the Speed Championship on there.
No, this dude fucking have Chelsea Green defend a title. Like what? She's Canadian.
I'm very surprised that they're probably going to do something on SmackDown for Chelsea Green.
They are. They announced that last
she's
week.
getting
Chelsea Green as a surprise opponent. Surprise opponent. Also, just that's a quick sidebar.
Yeah, go right ahead.
R-Truth sang Louisiana's own LA Knight.
Oh, it took me out.
Fucking died.
Does he write his own stuff?
He has to.
I hope so.
Yeah,
he has to.
That's the funniest thing I've heard all week.
Yeah. Oh my God. They put up on YouTube an R-Truth like redemption story or something like that.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
But you could put Lyra Valkyria on this show. You could put Chelsea Green on this show. Like you don't need Braun Breaker. You don't need Gunther. Like you don't, because that's already set up pretty much, or being set up.
Yeah.
But I know Triple H just likes to have these 4 matches and keep the card short. But like, why you brought in these new titles is to not showcase them anywhere for no reason?
I think.
Okay.
I do agree.
Is it too early for me to say I told you so?
No, I don't think so yet. But I do agree. I mean, the excuse is she's being highlighted on SmackDown. But I think what you're going with is how come these essentially major mid-card titles for the women aren't being showcased at a major premium live event, as Elimination Chamber has grown to be.
Yeah.
You know, and I totally understand it. And I think of the 2 mid-card champions, Chelsea Green in Toronto as the United States champion is gold, especially in the current climate of America and Canada.
I really
That's
thought Chelsea
gold
Green
right
was
there.
going to be on. Like, she's not wrestling on this, right?
No, she's
No.
wrestling on SmackDown.
On SmackDown.
That's crazy.
With a special guest opponent who knows who that could be.
Bret Hart.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't put it past Bret.
Honestly, book it.
I have no clue. I'm interested in that. But also going on with Elimination Chamber, you also have the Elimination Chamber Superstore, because everything's a superstore these days. What's interesting about this superstore and photo experience, by the way, is that it's also going to be in the Sky Dome. Okay.
Where?
Because this thing is freaking huge. I don't know if the Sky Dome is like their Superdome like we have in New Orleans, but it's pretty massive.
Which where the Blue Jays play.
Yes, where the Jays play. Yes,
Yeah.
And the crowd goes wild all the time. Congratulations on Matt Scherzer.
and the crowd forgets when the game starts.
They're still living off 92. And Joe Carter. Touch them all,
Joe
Joe.
Carter.
Touch them all.
It's been the last time to touch them all.
So yes, the Superstore's gonna be open starting at noon this Thursday, all the way running through Sunday, closing at 2 p.m. The Superstore's gonna be on one side of the Rogers Center or the Sky Dome, because I hate calling it the Rogers Center, and then the photo experience, pretty much their photo opportunity, is going to be on the other side of the Sky Dome. Those photo experiences include Liv Morgan, CM Punk, Alexa Bliss, Drew McIntyre, the Street Profits, Zelina Vega, Chelsea Green is one of them as well. It's not as many as the Royal Rumble, but there are a fair amount. So tickets for all, you have to buy your photo experience beforehand to get a photo with them. The only one that's sold out, surprise, surprise, is CM Punk. Because why the hell not? Yeah, naturally. Everybody else, last time I checked, is still available. That's actually a good point, Danny. It's probably going to be Natty in Toronto. It
probably is going to be Natty.
I don't know why.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know why we always forget about this. That it's probably not. It's Canada. Natty's probably coming out at some point in some way, shape, or form. So that's going to be happening as well. But let's go into the card. The very minimalistic, but very, I think, profound card. Hey, Taquan, nice of you to join us. Thank you. Welcome to 400. Late as always.
Hi, Taquan.
Yes. So the first men's elimination chamber match that we are going to go to is freaking loaded. It can go a bunch of different ways. We have Damian Priest, Logan Paul, Seth freaking Rollins, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and John Cena, who didn't have to qualify because he uses John Cena privilege to just say, I'm going into the chamber, because that's a thing. Thank you so much for that.
He's earned the right to call a shot.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Charlotte Flair, for using that. All the time. So here's how we're gonna do this predictions for this. First, I want you guys to name your final two in the chamber, and then of those two, who is going to win. I'll go first with this one. So my prediction for this is that we are not going to get what we think we're going to get at Mania in regards to John Cena from a nostalgic superfan like us standpoint. I think we're going to get it at the chamber. The final two is John Cena and CM Punk.
God, I hate that I agree with that.
I also agree with that.
The final two is John Cena and CM Punk, and that crowd is going to lose their ever-loving mind. Okay? And in the end of it all, we're going to play this up a little bit more. John Cena wins.
You think so?
I think Cena wins.
1,000%.
I think Cena wins. There's a twist in this story, though. There's a twist in this story, but John Cena wins.
Oh, you think The Rock?
No.
He's going to be The Rock's champion?
No.
You think? I saw that floating around on the line. I'm just like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. That nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be John Cena eventually winning this, but we are going to get Punk's, one more time in the chamber. And it's going to be glorious.
I'm going to cry my eyes out. I can't wait. I'm so glad I don't have to work that day. I have the whole day off to mentally prepare.
Yeah.
Wow. I've been waiting a long time for this.
Yes. Will Terajak, who are your final two? And then who wins?
See, I'm stuck here, man. I'm always going to go Cena Punk.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm going to go with Punk winning.
Really?
I think Punk Cody is the better match. I think it's more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Cena Cody, it's just like, okay,
yeah,
a respect you match. That's not very blockbuster,
but it's very WrestleMania.
It is very WrestleMania. It sells itself, but like, where's the heat? Where's the intrigue? Who's leaning heel? Like, is Cody gonna lean heel? Like, what does Cody do with The Rock? Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Rock inserting himself here does kind of throw a monkey wrench into all this.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think we're going to get to The Rock, but I don't think The Rock is actually going to be involved with Cody much longer. But I think Punk and Cody is the match I would rather see.
Mm-hmm.
And Cena's whole farewell tour is, it's not about me. It's about putting the guys over.
Except when he said, I'm getting the chamber and I'm going to win the title. So I can, be around for the person who beats my record. Which is kind of one of the most selfish Captain America things ever.
That is putting the other guy over, eventually.
No, that's John Cena's way of putting the other guy over, by beating them first.
Yeah, John Cena's very bad at putting people over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love how some people in the chat are still predicting a John Cena heel turn like 25 years in. Like, it's not going to happen to anybody.
Yeah, it's not.
No.
He pretty much said he's like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Kayfabe, what do you got here?
I have the same exact prediction as you. For the first time in Kings of the Rings history, I am not picking CM Punk to win the match.
Are you okay? Are you feeling all right? Do we need to take your temperature?
I'm doing wonderfully. I honestly, before the whole John Cena farewell tour, I was certain that CM Punk was winning either the Rumble or the Chamber. Now that it's John Cena and now that he's not won the Royal Rumble, I really feel like John Cena is going to win the Elimination Chamber because I'm pretty sure this is his, 17th Mania? And this would be, the 17th title reign? So it's all the aligned numbers and shit. I feel like Mania is a nice time to give Cena the title. Like, I feel like the casual fans will appreciate and like that. And, Mania's... I feel like casuals watch Mania more than anything else. So, I feel like we're prepping for a Cena Mania. But I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with Punk. I don't want the Logan Paul Punk anything.
They set up Logan Paul and Punk on Monday.
I know, and I don't want it.
I think they teased it. You can do that down the line. Logan Paul held his own, but CM Punk still dog walked him on the mic.
Yeah, he did.
I'm gonna watch it when we get off.
He made Logan Paul look like a child.
I mean, Logan Paul he sold it with the facial expression, but like before he stopped him, he's kind of like, yeah, I don't know what to say here. So fuck you, bye.
Yeah. Logan Paul compared to Punk, it was not. Punk was just like, you're a flash in the pan. I'm a legend. That was Punk's argument, and I was like, he's correct. He's really correct at this.
I mean, so far he's correct for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, but this has a lot of intrigue. The Elimination Chamber is kind of a mini Royal Rumble in itself because the way that they set up Elimination Chamber these past couple of years is that this is also predicting the Mania card as well. Who fights who eliminates who, what happens where. So we're going to learn a lot about what's going on for the Mania card in the Elimination Chamber for the men, and also for the women. The Women's Elimination Chamber, the winner will go to face Rhea Ripley for the world title at Mania. We have Will's favorite person, Roxanne Perez, from
cute as a button.
Currently still in NXT. Okay. Bailey, Naomi, returning Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Bianca going up for this. So again, we're going to start with you, Kate. We're going to go in reverse order. Who are your final two and who wins this?
Damn, this is a funky, fresh Elimination Chamber. I don't hate it at all. I love everybody that's in this match. Damn. I realistically think it's going to be Bianca versus Rhea at Mania, but I so badly want it to be Naomi.
So who's Bianca? Who does Bianca defeat in the end?
I think it's going to be Naomi Bianca final two.
Saucy.
Interesting.
Saucy. I like it.
They just lost the titles, so there's going to be some friction.
In a great match.
It was a great match. Don't get me wrong, but there's still going to be some, they're not going to be totally solid right now because they're coming off of loss.
Damn, Danny, how dare you hate Roxanne Perez? How dare you?
Do not get her started on that, please.
Oh, I'm going to get her started.
I want to know, Danny, why do you hate Roxanne?
Well, as she types up her response.
Yes, I'll read every word.
I don't watch
in all caps.
I like her from what I've seen, but I don't watch NXT anymore, so I don't know her like that to have a true opinion. I like what I see, but I don't know her.
Fun, and especially if we actually do Roadblock, which we do have to talk about at some point, because someone's going to have to take the dive for that, and then we'll front the money, or someone has to front the money. Because I have a very, very strong feeling we're going to get a heavy TNA presence at Roadblock.
Probably.
Like,
probably.
I'm NXT is going on currently as we speak. So if anybody's watching NXT, please fill us in. I really have a feeling the
Hardys are wrestling right now.
The Hardys are wrestling. There's a rumor that the Hardys will come back to the main roster by the summer.
Dude, my dad called me like literally half hour before we started. He's like, "Are the Hardys back in WWE?"
Kind of.
I'm like, "How the hell did you know?" What?
But for NXT Roadblock, I do have a feeling for Will's marquee TNA self. I think we're getting Moose Obafemi at Roadblock.
Yeah, I wish I knew Moose was a piece of shit. I wish you guys told me.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, if you ever want to know about who's really like a bad person, talk to Smiley. She really has the inside scoop on a lot more than I do. And I hung out with Moose once, and this was back at Mania 32 in Dallas.
Like I've for years going, Moose, let's get ready to bop some heads. I didn't mean his ex-girlfriend or whatever. Like, jeez Christ.
Yeah. So
what a douchebag.
Yeah, well, while we have you, who are your final two in this, and who wins?
I have no idea.
That's a good sign.
I think Kay's onto something with Bianca, because she had dropped the belt. Bianca Rhea is like the biggest match you can possibly have, but you know that Jade storyline is coming up.
It's a matter of when they drop that hammer.
Matter of when they drop that hammer, and not only that, I know it's the question of everyone thinks it's Naomi. I think it's both of them, to be honest, and they both turn heel.
Too.
Like the thing about it, Jade's huge. Bianca has a storyline of. You were taking my spotlight, so I took you out, and I went with Naomi. Like, we took you out. You were stealing our spotlight. So I think it makes more sense where it's both of them, and Jade comes into the chamber, returns, and takes out both of them. Or at least in this case, it's Bianca, and then Naomi on Monday or Friday or whatever. But the fact that they dropped the belts is very sus, because then Jade could get a partner, and it's a 2-on-2. I don't know. However, to answer your question, I don't like that I'm saying this.
Oh, boy.
But I'm going to go Bianca and Alexa Bliss, and Alexa Bliss wins.
Wow.
I like that too.
They're going to do some spooky, like Wyatt Six shit with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, and it's not going to go over well.
Oh, man.
I want to see that, honestly.
So update, Will, for Danny's this thing.
I know, I see it.
This is how I find out the comment section has a character limit. Yes, it does. All right, Danny, I'll do you this solid. Text it.
Amazing.
Danny, text it to me, and I will air your grievances live whenever it comes on my phone. So we'll do it that way. Julia versus Stephanie, champion versus champion in the works. That's amazing. For me here, the Women's Elimination Chamber, you gave me an idea, Will, about Jade attacking either Bianca or Naomi and then replacing them in the chamber.
I like
that idea because that would be
what's this, like Jericho did to Kofi? I think it was Jericho
or somebody, yeah,
or Edge. It was Edge.
Yeah.
Then Edge won.
Yeah, or I like that idea, but I still think the money is in Bianca and like, so if anybody gets taken out before the match, it's Naomi. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
But if Jade can't enter the chamber to lose, though.
True.
Fair. Okay, I see where you're going with that. I understand that. But it's not gonna. It does not change my prediction at all. I do think your final two are Bianca and Bliss. Because you got him, Bliss hasn't wrestled in 2 years. She wrestled like a couple SmackDowns ago. They're teasing her Wyatt Six thing, but I think the money is just Bianca and Rhea. Bianca and Rhea on paper, I think trumps Tiffy and Charlotte.
I agree completely.
You know, and who knows where the Jade thing comes in? Does Jade come in during chamber, after chamber? Like what happens there? But I still think they dropped the title so Bianca can go off and do Bianca and Rhea. Rhea's being Io on Monday. I think that's what's going to, and then we're going to get Bianca and Rhea. I think that's what they do with Jade. It could be that it was Naomi that attacked Jade, and Bianca has nothing to do with this because of all the two people who could probably be easily heel. It's going to be Jade. They're not going to make Bianca heel.
I think they should.
With her merch.
She's too good. She's kind of a John's.
Her philanthropy too.
Philanthropic work, and you know, sure, her real life person is too good for her to turn heel now.
God, she's such a good heel though.
She would be a great heel.
Unless she requested it and they let her.
She really needs to turn heel because her, like, I agree with everything you said, Ricky. Like her persona, and she's good for like the PR and the company and everything and merch and little girls, but her character is so stale. And this Jade thing is actually the first time you've actually been like, oh, okay, what's going on with Bianca? For the first time in a very long time. Like just Bianca by herself. Like with Jade, it's more like, oh, look at Jade, right? For better or worse. So everything is there for her to turn heel. And it's just that rocket ship again to her career.
Yeah.
Like it was the first time with her and Sasha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, all right. So I have a response from Danny about why she hates Roxanne.
Let's go. She's pitting Liv
All
Morgan,
right,
by the
let's hear
way.
it.
So her response is still ongoing, by the way. But here's what I have so far. Okay.
Damn.
It says, "No, I hate her so much. She's a bitch, and her mean face isn't really menacing. Like I cannot take her. Or I cannot take her as a heel at all. Seriously, as a heel at all. I really want to hit her in the face with a chair. Like I cannot stand her, or how pushed she was with that belt. I feel like I could take her. I swear to God." Roxanne is tiny,
Very small.
very minute human being. Be it as it may. And so we're gonna move on from this, from the women's elimination chamber and all of the Roxanne hatred. I mean, I get it though. It's but we're gonna move on to what I assume is going to be the show stealer of all show stealers.
Oh,
You have two of the greatest modern Canadian wrestlers of all time in the Sky Dome in Toronto, and there are no rules for them to abide by. This has the makings of one of the most epic things ever, because they are two best friends in real life. They won't care about each other's bodies. They've shown that to be a thing before. This is a matter of whether this is actually the last time as they promoted it. I have gone back and forth with this all day. I've gone, it's KO, it's Sami. I've even thought about no contest.
Yeah, I don't think anything gets to the ring.
I strongly think no contest eventually, but I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Will, what do you got?
I don't think it gets to the ring because this is a Mania match. Like,
it'd be their second Mania match. Yeah,
and I know they've done it before, but this story actually is way better because they're both super over. Whereas last time they're kind of both stuck in the mid card. That was more of like a if you know match.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, like, people actually want to see it. So the fact that they're gonna blow their load at Elimination Chamber. So like, what do they do at Mania then?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has to be a no contest. In fact, it's unsanctioned. It's like, okay, so there's no rules. So Kevin's gonna attack him in the entranceway. Sami comes out first. Kevin attacks him fucking immediately, and they just brawl through the stadium for like, honestly, you know what they do?
What?
They start. This is what Mankind and Triple H did at In Your House in '97. They start off the match.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Triple H and Mankind actually had a match, but they start the entrance, they brawl, and then they're just brawling throughout the entire night. Like during the Rock segment, you can see them still fighting in the background. Like backstage and interviews, they're still fighting in the background. Like it's just all night. They are constantly following these people around, and just Adam Pearce and the referees trying to chase them down. Jamie Knowles trying to break them up, and they just can't do it. Can't do it.
You know what's
all
great
night.
about it? Because the Sky Dome is fucking massive. The Sky Dome's so big.
And it's huge, exactly.
They have a hotel in the Sky Dome. Could you imagine them fighting through the hotel of the Sky Dome?
Yeah, they're going to do a one-on-one stadium stampede, except it's going to be way better. Oh, I did enjoy Stadium Stampede for what it was during COVID, so I shouldn't say that.
So, Will, is your official guess no contest?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Kayfabe, what do you got for this?
I would like to start out by saying that I low-key think this match, if it goes on, whether to that night or at Mania, will be a match of the year for me. I agree. It has to end in a no contest. Because, like, yeah, this will probably be like a crazy Canadian match, but it deserves to be a crazy match at Mania. I agree with Will that the match will be ongoing. I low-key could see the match starting, like, before the show starts. Like, on AEW, how they would do... on AEW, how after the main event, they would do the lights out unsanctioned match?
Oh, God, please, let's not do that.
After the show ended.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Well, I'm saying, what if you start the show that way?
Mm-hmm.
Like, have Sami and Kevin, like, before, like, anything starts, like, before they sing, like, the national anthem and shit, Kevin and Sami come out during like "Oh Canada" or something, and it starts.
I don't think they'll do.
God.
I don't think they'll do that to their own national anthem.
Or after their national
No,
anthem.
they'll do it when they start booing the American national anthem.
Yeah. I like
to
that
get us
too.
to cheer. But we're not
That's the
cheering the
thing.
anthem, we're cheering them fighting. Fret's with the greatest line
them-
saying, Kevin does a swanton off a CN tower.
Oh my god. I see this match more so as not like, I guess more like a bit than an actual match. Like
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
it's just gonna go on throughout the show.
Yeah, agreed.
That would be great.
It's gonna be incredible. I'm gonna love it.
Yeah. I don't like, this is so hard for me because like I settled on Sami a couple of hours ago because I'm just like, who can benefit more from this? Because if Sami wins, you just have Kevin go crazy. And I don't think we know the limits to how crazy Kevin can get.
I mean, it's stalk him at his
No.
home. That's why I was like, damn, Sammy, you're loaded. Why is your living room so barren?
It was also very Pillman-esque. It was very
Minimalism.
Pillman-esque of KO
Yeah.
to do as well.
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, next thing you know, we're gonna have like Sammy's got a gun. You know, something.
God.
They're on Netflix. It's possible. They can do whatever they want. It's not that they have TV people on their back. Oh, God. Because if it does it at Mania, it's like it's the wrestling fans' main event is Kevin Owens and Sami at Mania.
God. I mean, here's the thing, dude. His whole thing is fight Owens fight. Do the fight pit at Mania.
Fight pit
Ooh.
or an underground match.
Oh, R.I.P.
I mean, a fight pit might be tough because it's
Yeah.
like a giant cage and there's too many people there.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it is very UFC. You know what I would want them to happen? Like, what if they just like never
oh,
stop
Lion's Den.
Lions Den, which is essentially the fight pit, anyways. What if
Yeah,
they
the
just
fight pit.
never stopped fighting? Like every city they go, they're always fighting somewhere in the city, all the way
just
through
keep
Mania.
going.
Like,
Oh my
I
god,
can
I love
picture
that.
them fighting on the Vegas Strip, like right outside of the Bellagio, just like just
Oh
causing
my God.
chaos.
They're fighting in the fountain where it all
Fighting in the
bursts
fountain,
out.
yeah. Fighting in the Tiger Den at the Mirage with all the white tigers
In the sphere.
in the sphere.
In the sphere, just showing all their old matches.
You know, Sami and KO have never done Hell in the Cell. It's also very true.
I've been dying for them to do a Hell in the Cell.
That's very, very true. That would be fun. And Kevin Owens always wants to jump up something big, and he
Mhm.
never got to do it at the Mania because of COVID. So
I know we should be talking
He did it against Shane.
about
Wasn't that Mania though?
question.
Mania, yeah. What's up, Kay?
What's something I was gonna say? Like, I know this is more of a Mania question, but what's something big in Vegas Kevin Owens can jump off
What
of?
isn't big in Vegas that Kevin Owens can't jump off? That's the bigger
There's a lot of
question.
tall
Well, I mean-
buildings. Oh, the Vegas sign.
What?
The Vegas sign,
Well,
yeah.
I mean something that's like specifically accessible to wherever Mania is. I
Oh,
forgot the name of the
Luxor,
stadium.
but the Pyramid Hotel. That would be a great spot.
Mm.
Can you imagine them like?
Oh, the Bud Light pyramid.
No, it's called the Bud Light Pyramid now?
It's got a giant logo of Bud Light on it.
That's sad.
Yeah, isn't it? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
It's
sad.
like one of the biggest pyramids in
Ew.
North America too, which is even sadder.
Its light can be seen from space.
And it has a Bud Light sticker
That's-
on it.
that
That's sad.
sucks. No, I can picture Kevin Owens and Sami pulling some wild thing where they slide down the pyramid and still fighting each other, like almost
Whee!
like something out of like Family Guy when Peter faces the chicken. Randomly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I see this feud going. And you guys have convinced me this is going to go to a no contest. It's going to be a fun no contest though, but a no contest nonetheless.
We're gonna be so upset when there's an
when there's a
actual
finish.
Or
Yeah.
like, you know, they're fighting down the ramp when the Rock's talking. He's like, hey, final boss says cut the crap, and they just look up and they go, no, sorry, shake hands and walk to the back.
What if Bret Hart comes out during their match?
Honestly, if it goes to no contest, I want to see, like, this is going to be totally super Canadian of me. If it goes to no contest, I could definitely see KO versus Sami with Bret Hart as a special guest referee at Mania,
Hell yeah. Hell
and
yeah.
call it like the Hart Dungeon match or something like that.
They could have done something like that if this was a confrontation with Bret Hart mediating.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
But instead, they're doing this instead because they can't have 2 talking segments. Otherwise, it's just a Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Well, this could be the way to introduce Bret Hart to Sami and Kevin's story.
Yeah, they bump into Bret when they're fighting backstage.
Something like that. Yeah.
They bump into Bret while fighting backstage, and Bret could feel a kind of way about it.
And then Kevin goes, Goldberg! Goldberg!
I want Kevin Owens and Sami to be the most super Canadian thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I want all the Canadian. I want them to bump into the Mountie.
Oh my god.
Okay. Like, that's what I want at this point. Have Lance Storm show up real quick.
I want them to do a table spot on a table full of Tim Hortons products.
Fucking Timbits fucking flying everywhere. Oh my god. Oh god. All right, that's good. That's really, really good. So we're all going no contest. We're gonna be so upset when like freaking like someone wins this. Like
it's a squash match.
Or like Natty wins. They did a squash match before. That's how Kevin Owens won the NXT title the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And so
yeah, they did. They murdered him.
That was a well-deserved squash, though. That was a well-deserved finish. That was beautiful writing. Beautiful, beautiful writing. But let's moving on to this segment. And I gotta think about how I'm gonna word this one real quick.
Is this the main event?
No. This is gonna be the breather before the main. I think the men are gonna main. If Cena wins, the men are gonna main. And I think
Yeah, good point.
The Rock, after announcing Mania 42 New Orleans, came out on SmackDown, called Cody Rhodes out, and out of your favorite literary smut, said that he wanted Cody's soul. What that means, we're not really sure. He talked about him being his champion, and he has 1 week to find his answer, because The Rock's going to show up at Elimination Chamber, and he's going to demand an answer from Cody, because I got very this is out of smut fiction vibes. Kay, you probably got the same vibes too. So this is where we're at the moment. So we're, for the first time ever on our prediction battle, we're going to predict the segment. Okay, we're going to say it yes or no really quickly.
Okay.
Is Cody going to accept this offer at Elimination Chamber? Yes or no? I'm going with no.
Not a chance.
There's a reason.
Hell no.
I've seen a Timbit spot at an indie show. Of course you have, Danny. There's a reason he's going to say no. I think Cody says no. And he says no at Elimination Chamber, because remember, he's saying no at Elimination Chamber. He goes to face Cena. This is going to be my quick prediction that's probably going to fail by the time Mania hits. When I started breaking down what The Rock's offer was and him being Cody champion, people forget Cody as a heel on the indies was diabolical.
Very good. He's a good heel.
Diabolical
yeah, he's a good heel.
On the indies. And The Rock, who is showing his age at this point, if you listen to the press conference after SmackDown, loves.
Oh, I didn't hear that yet.
He had a presser at the
They had a press conference after SmackDown.
It was The Rock.
That's so
it was
dramatic.
The Rock. It's because of The Rock.
Is The Rock a Leo?
I don't know, but as we know, The Rock essentially is the most powerful person in WWE outside of Ari Emanuel, because he's the director of the board.
Nope. But let me just tell you, Ricky, their stock's down 10% in the past 5 days, so I blame The Rock for this.
So here's what I think is going to happen with this. Cody's going to say no for now. And then if I'm booking this is how I would do it, because I also don't want Cena to win the 17th. Does anybody remember WrestleMania 17's finish?
To Rock.
The Rock?
It was Rock Austin 2. It was in Houston.
No. Oh, that was when Austin turned heel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think you recreate it.
Cody turns heel at Mania.
Mm-hmm. We get corporate Cody.
Oh, I love
We get
that.
corporate heel Cody decimating John Cena. I think Cena's talking all of his junk about breaking the record, and he doesn't actually want to break the record. I think Cena's actually going to put Cody over, because if we're putting the established legend against the guy who's supposed to take the company into the next level, or lead the company into the future, and John cannot beat the guy who's supposed to be the guy. And I think Cody decimating Cena is poetic justice.
God, that would be very good.
Corporate Cody is in the the second year run of Cody as champion. Heel Cody's a monster, and they're kind of teasing. I kind of felt heel Cody when he beat KO at Rumble. It's coming out.
Yeah, it was a vicious streak was coming out.
Yeah, it's coming out.
Damn, that's really good. That's way better than what I was gonna say.
You just have to
really
predict whether he says no on Saturday or not.
Yeah, no, he definitely says no. But I'm just thinking that Triple H is like this eating lunch on Thursday, just enjoying his life. All of a sudden, his phone rings. It's fucking Motorhead. It's his own theme song. He sees The Rock. He's just like, oh, fuck, not again. Yeah. You want a what? Fuck. All right. Writers, like, you've got to rewrite fucking everything all over again. But because I don't know, like, The Rock is this like come WrestleMania scene. It's like, no, I do want to be involved. I changed my mind. So it's interesting. I still think somehow Roman Reigns could get involved.
There is a possibility that this segment could be absolutely bonkers if Roman gets this. Roman's not announced for the card just yet. Right.
We haven't seen him since Rumble. They still want to do that match. Cody could just be a complete swerve. Roman comes down and without saying a thing to Cody, just spears The Rock and leaves. And the program is, you want him to be your champion when I was the champion for over 1,000 days? You didn't even give me the offer. I'm your blood. I'm your family. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And that's the story.
I'm down with that. An easier story
too.
could be Roman's the tribal chief in actual Samoan heritage, like real life shoot Samoan heritage. Rock is actually the high chief. Tribal chief versus high chief. Sold.
Yeah. So I think that could happen. Cody's just a swerve to get to Roman. I don't think the match is going to Cody Rock. That doesn't make any sense because Rock even said in the press conference doesn't need to lead to a match, which means
it means it's not happening.
It's not leading to a match, which is good, which is a good thing.
I like that he said that too. He's like, I'm here to elevate a story, and the story doesn't involve me getting in the ring.
Yeah, so I like your idea. I also like my idea. I guess K Murphy is splitting difference here.
What do you got here? The only thing we have to answer is he accepting this offer?
Of course he's not accepting the offer, but now I feel pressured to come up with a fucking third scenario. When I was... All right. I guess since y'all had two good scenarios, I have to come up with a crazy scenario.
Yeah. Have at it.
Okay. So we're in Canada, right?
Yes, we are. Well, we're not in Canada during the show, but we will be in Canada.
My Zen state.
Yeah. My Zen state too.
We will be emotionally and spiritually in Canada.
That is correct.
Winnipeg.
It's in Manitoba. Totally different province. Chattanooga's in Tennessee.
Yeah, whatever.
Jesus. Go ahead, Kay.
So, we are mentally in Winnipeg. And
yes, we are.
I believe that in order to not have Roman Reigns come out, we have someone better than Roman Reigns, who also is going on a retirement tour this year.
Huh?
Whose last match is this summer?
Stop it. I swear to God. Why did I not see this coming? Why did I not see this?
I have a selfish reason for booking this. I need Goldberg to not have his retirement match at SummerSlam.
Because you won't be there.
Yes, that's exactly why. SummerSlam and my Bash are the same weekend. I will not be watching live. And I have to be, like, crying for Goldberg in real time. So, Cody says no because he wants to wrestle Goldberg instead. Boom.
You know what? I expect nothing less from you, Kay.
That's fine.
Well,
yeah.
Well, you guys had two really good options. I can't think of a third good option right now, so you're getting Goldberg.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Listen, Goldberg has to infuse himself in here somehow.
And that's interesting because Cody's going to be like, here's what Cody's going to say. He's like, I already have everything I want.
Yeah.
I don't I don't need this. And Rock's just going to go, that's true. That's true. But the final boss has a certain power to take it all away. What do you give someone who has everything? The fear of losing it. That's what you give them. So
True.
And then at the end of the day, that could be a reason why Cody turns. Ricky, I fucking love your idea. I'd love to see it. I would love to see it because I also think Roman Seth is a banger match.
Yeah.
Like Show Stealer, night 1 is KO Sami. Show Stealer, night 2 is Roman Seth. Like, ugh.
I agree.
But then poor Paul and Punk is match 2 on night 2.
Or something, yeah. Yeah, no,
Stop
I
it.
think you do. I love the WrestleMania 17 finish because it'll be better than when Austin went corporate, because Austin was almost forever over at that time. So him going corporate with
didn't
Vince
work.
didn't work.
It didn't work because he built his career and Austin exploded off of
Vince.
denouncing Vince.
Yeah.
Cody got over by being himself.
This works because Rock's not prominent. Rock shows up whenever he wants. And so I think this will work better. And Cody's not forever over yet. He's getting there, but he can switch that character real quick and also
He
get over
has
the
been
heel.
stale these past few months. His feud with KO was okay, but it wasn't front and center like Roman was for the past 3 years. Like, it almost feels like Gunther was the #1 champion, even though Cody is clearly a #1 guy.
Yeah.
But in terms of like importance of the story, what's clearly the top story, it's been Jay.
Yeah.
For the past few months, and that's Jay is now shifting into Gunther, which is kind of ironic because it's not going to main event. Like,
it's going to be interesting where they put Jay and Gunther. And it's also very interesting. WWE 2K25 had a Jay Uso entrance where he was still coming from the stage. They actually redid it before launch, and now he's coming out through the crowd, and they're yeeting with him.
That's cool.
They made like a last minute adjustment. I was like, good job, guys. Good job.
A quick patch. Quick patch.
Yeah, quick patch. So yeah, the Rock Cody segment is going to be interesting. Shenanigans afoot for Bad One, and now the final match on the card for the fans. Trish. Thank you, Trish. Before I forget, Trish Stratus.
Oh yeah, this match is a thing.
Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton versus Candice LeRae and Nia Jax. Obviously, we're not going to waste too much time on this because there's no way in hell they'd let Trish Stratus lose in Toronto.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
I didn't even think Trish was ever going to come back. I thought she had a great farewell, but Trish.
Hey, Slack's here.
Oh, show's over, everybody.
Slack, I like Jey Uso.
Oh,
so you got to watch what you're saying over there, kid.
Yeah. Who hates Jay? I don't hate Jay. I love Jey Uso.
The internet does hate Jey Uso. That is a thing.
Wait, why?
Explain that to me, Will.
I don't know. I generally don't know.
So cool.
It's just because it's like, oh, well, the one thing I've seen is like, oh, he's 40. It's like, you don't understand wrestling, clearly.
You mean like Wrestler Prime?
Yeah, Hollywood Hogan was 40. AJ Styles debuted in WWE at 40. Cena had some of his top runs. Well, that's not true. But everyone else, Taker was doing those runs with Shawn Michaels, 40. Like his final match with Brock Lesnar, 40. Like his match with Roman in his 40s. So Jericho, his resurgence in AEW in his late 40s.
Yeah.
So like Edge has come back, late 40s. So like I don't get the hate for Jey Uso. It's just like, oh, the tag guy, the mid card guy, which is just, it's funny because it's the same people who go, why don't they use the Rumble to put over someone new? Are now complaining once they put over someone new. Yeah, he does have a kind of a bit of bland moveset. I will give you that one slack. His moveset isn't flashy or stunning, but he doesn't put on bad matches. The crowd is clearly behind him.
Yeah.
He's more than a catchphrase. He has a natural charisma. When he got in the ring after Royal Rumble and he had trouble finding the words, like, okay, that's a sign of, like, act like you've been there before, but it's also a sign of authenticity.
Yeah.
And people can connect with both. So
yeah. I
have no problem with Jey Uso. I was screaming when Jey Uso won. It had to be reminded we have neighbors. So.
I hate the bland moveset argument. This is not an attack on you this time, Slack. Because you know who else has bland movesets? Every superstar who's ever been over like Rover. The Rock has a bland moveset. John Cena, for the most part, has a bland moveset. Some of the biggest stars.
Austin post-neck injury.
Bland moveset. Some of the big...
Taker evolved, but as Taker got older, he moved away from Striker, but more towards bland moveset.
Yeah.
It's more substance than flash.
Yeah.
It's more storytelling.
Yeah, it's part, like, people forget that pro wrestling is an athletic thing and people love pro wrestling for the wrestling, but wrestling at its height is a great cinematic story and it takes you on a ride. Eric Bischoff said it very, very beautifully during his TED Talk. It's not about, wrestling is not supposed to make you think. It's supposed to make you feel.
Make you feel. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to WrestleMania 30, Yeselmania. Everybody felt that main event when Daniel Bryan won.
And you knew it was going to happen.
And you still lost your mind for it.
Yeah, and you still lost your mind.
Exactly.
Same with Kofi.
Kofi Mania, yeah.
Same with Cody.
Cody, yep.
Like
Sami Zayn beating Gunther.
Didn't see that one coming,
But it made you
I felt
feel,
every
yeah.
moment of
Crazy.
it. Yeah. I felt like a fucking fool for not calling it.
It was so improbable. That's why I didn't think it was going to happen. I was like, no way. But yeah, so it doesn't matter about moveset in particular. It's about making you feel.
Yeah, and Michael Cole said this on Impulsive.
Yeah.
Which actually I didn't listen to the full interview, but the quotes I've seen, Michael Cole just goes off.
Michael Cole's brilliant.
This dropping facts and logic.
Michael Cole's very brilliant in this. When
he goes, I don't consider WWE a wrestling company. It is a storytelling company.
It's what it's always
which
been.
Is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's what it's always been. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We tell stories.
Exactly. You almost have to be a savant to remember moveset match to match. I remember how I feel during matches. Like I remember how I felt when I was in the crowd when AJ Styles beat Cena at SummerSlam clean as a fucking whistle.
Yeah.
That's one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life. And
although I will never forget seeing Io Sky jump off War Games with a trash
can in her head. Yeah.
I will never forget that spot for as long as I live because I was there. So sometimes yes, it is flash movesets help. Like if you see, I still want to see a Sweet Chin Music in person. Like that is.
Oh, you've never seen one, have you?
No, I've never seen one. Like I've seen plenty of super kicks, but a Sweet Chin Music, man.
I got spoiled. My first Mania was Mania 32 when they had that like legend spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he gave a Sweet Chin Music.
Oh,
to, like,
that's so cool.
Kofi, yeah. That spot hit. I was like, I can go home. I don't need to see the rest of this card.
Like hearing the gong.
You heard the gong.
Crazy.
You heard the gong.
I've heard the gong.
Yeah.
Hearing the If You Smell. Still never seen the glass break.
The glass shattering is an experience.
I know.
Same.
But yeah, it's about the moments that make you feel something. So it's not about move style. That's very AEW. So
it's true.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, Slab. We're talking about Charlotte Flair now, kind of.
Slag's favorite person, Slag. I hope you said hi to Freckles in the background.
The real KOTR intern.
The real KOTR intern.
Right.
Yeah. We might we might need him for Revolution because we got to predict Revolution next week at some point. But anywho, moving on. That's the end of the Elimination Chamber card. Obviously, it's a pretty short card, but that means the matches are going to be long and probably very, very impactful, especially that Smutty Rock segment. That's definitely going to happen. But be it as it may, this is the final premium live event before WrestleMania, which means after this, they've got a month and a half to build this Mania in Vegas. And so they really hope they do not screw this up. Because, to be honest with you, it's been pretty lackluster thus far. But be that as it may, wow, Slack actually said hello to Freckles. Be that as it may.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Look at Grope. I'm proud of your Grope, Slack. Be that as it may, how
that's a Hall of Fame worthy event.
Don't give him give him too much credit, Kay.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, easy. His dad's still leagues above him.
Slack, unfortunately, voted you are now a second ballot Hall of Famer potentially.
We gotta redo the votes. Oh man. So anywho, how well do we think this pay-per-view or premium live event's gonna go? 1 being the worst thing in the world, like an exploding barbed wire death match. I'm looking at you, AEW, or 10 being WrestleMania 40. Will Tarashuk.
7.5. Yeah, 7.5. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I don't like that they put padding in the chamber. It makes it look less deadly, but I get it.
I like safety.
Yeah, I like safety. So the chamber has lost its luster over the years, but yeah, it should be fun.
By the way, Slack. Freckles is she, not he. Get it straight, Slack. Kayfabe.
Damn. I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I feel like both chamber matches alone are so stacked that it's gonna be a really great show.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to 9 because I think that crowd's gonna be crazy. This is a very Canadian coded event. And also you have this is Elimination Chamber in the Sky Dome. Like this place is going to be slammed. I'm talking like 60, 70,000 people. Like this is going to be a big, probably like in the 50s if we're being logical about it. but it's going to be a big house. And so everything's going to be that much more intense for this show. So I'm going to go 9. I think it's going to be a really, really, really good show. So that
I hope Vlad Jr.'s there. He's go, wow, this is what this place looks like filled up.
let's go to the Bronx.
I hope so, dude. I hope they sign him next year. I really do.
He's open to it now that the beard thing's out of the way.
Yeah, sure. He's using it as a bargaining chip to get more money from the Mets.
Probably.
He's like, oh, I forgive the Yankees.
No, you don't.
Idiot.
Yeah, you punk. Anywho, we're moving on from Elimination Chamber because obviously, folks, this is our milestone 400th episode of the podcast. A podcast started about 10 years ago by somebody who was 20. That was you, Will. You started this at 20 years old. Tell us about that.
Fuck, I did. I just turned 20.
you just turned 30, actually. You are not 20.
I know. I was saying, yeah, like when I started the podcast, I had just turned 20. I think the first time I recorded, I was still 19.
Jesus.
Or maybe I was 20 in a day. I don't know. I honestly don't remember. I don't remember when I first released it because it's kind of hard to find.
It's on SoundCloud.
Yeah, no, because we uploaded the archive, so that first one isn't technically accurate.
Oh, okay.
I have to go to MediaFire. I think it's like February 8th, 2015 is the upload date.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know. I honestly don't remember. It's been so long. But yeah, 10 years. It started out with me and Christian in a dorm room, and then Christian lasted like 8 episodes. And then I tried going alone, and I wanted to kill myself. And then Dave came in, and Dave is the one who held it together for like another 20 episodes after that. Then we brought in Ricky, and then went with Ant, and then Kay Murphy, and then, here we are today. I still think I don't have any regrets, but I do have one.
Don't say the work. You're going to say the work.
I've lived that down. It's not the work.
Okay.
It's that our name's plural. Everyone calls it Kings of the Ring. Everybody.
I am very upset. I'm very
person.
upset with that too. Like, how do you keep messing? Like, the S is right there.
Yes. Yes, it's plural. So if I could go
because
back.
people are used to Kings of the Ring. That's why.
But the idea was that we talk about more than just WWE. So it was rings, plural.
Yeah.
Like, because I still watched TNA back then, so that was the original idea. And Christian liked indie wrestling. So that was the idea. But if I could go back to 20-year-old me, I'd go, make it singular. Other than that, you're good.
I low-key think we could low-key completely rebrand as Kings of the Ring podcast and no one would notice.
We can literally just rebrand. Sorry, we can literally just rebrand as KOTR and no one would know the difference.
Yeah, that too as well.
That too.
I mean, we still kind of hold true to that original mantra of talking about different wrestling promotions.
Yeah.
For the most part, depending on how the news cycle goes and everything like that. Do you remember, Will, your first tagline? Because remember you had mentioned this before. It was like you name a ring,
will sure as hell become the king.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That one. That was a weird one. Yeah. And I came in at it was
33.
Was it 33? Yeah.
33.
It was 2016. I know this story for a fact. I've been recovering from a health issue months prior, and I started getting back into wrestling towards the end of grad school, and I was becoming a real adult, which I still am not completed yet. And Dave came, and I was watching events with Dave. Dave, I would go over to Dave's place wherever he was staying, and we would just watch wrestling events together. And so one time,
and your Chinese food.
Yes, my Chinese still do that to this day.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's a great ritual to have. So it sucks for multiple night events though, because you're like, fuck.
I need extra.
Yeah. So Dave said, he's like, oh, I have this friend Will, and he's into wrestling too, and he does a podcast. Maybe after we watch the event, we will we'll have you on the show. So the event was Money in the Bank. It was June 19th, Juneteenth, and LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers were in the NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors, coming back from 3-1. That was Game 7 that night, I believe. And also that same night in wrestling, all 3 members of the Shield held the world title, with the last one being Dean Ambrose cashing in his Money in the Bank. So we do that episode, and we just scream, I think, the first 2 or 3 minutes. Because we were so mind blown. I don't remember much about that show. I remember we did the show. You and Dave went outside to have smoke a cigarette because you guys were doing that back then.
We probably did it in the room. You crazy?
Oh my god, I forgot Will used to smoke cigarettes. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude, it's college, man.
Yeah, and in between pubs, you're like, you know what, just come back next week. That's literally how I got on.
Yeah, because I love Dave. I miss Dave. I love Dave dearly.
Yeah.
But doing a podcast with just me and Dave was getting frustrating. Because we just kept interrupting each other, and we were in person, and it just we needed that third. I needed a third person to bounce off of and buffer between, and Ricky just fit in fucking perfectly.
I appreciate it, sir. I really do.
So.
We ended up. Okay, I don't know if you know this. Not many people do, except when we would go live. Will had whatever hunk of junk mixer we were using at the time, and we shared a microphone.
That I knew.
I had mine because I didn't have enough money to buy a second one.
Yeah. I eventually had my mic from the bars, I think, and I would bring it over whenever we'd have a piece.
I think that's when we switched back and forth.
Yeah, that's right. We did. We had one main mic, and then we would switch. I think Dave and I would switch back and forth.
Yeah.
Whoever had it. Yeah. I gotta go back and listen to some of those early ones. Some of those were fun.
They were a lot of fun. That's always what the show's been about. The show has just always been about having fun, talking shit about wrestling, and talking shit about fucking anything.
Yeah, mostly wrestling.
Yeah, mostly wrestling. So this is like, I have since turned a career. Well, it's like it's a second career and a main career. Podcasting, live production, video production. It all started with this podcast.
Yeah.
My job interview, I talked about this podcast. Anytime I'm on a sales call for 42 Productions, I talk about how I started this podcast.
Yeah.
How I did 10 years ago. And how creating an RSS feed wasn't as easy as just creating an account somewhere. I had to figure it out on WordPress. And I still couldn't tell you how I did it.
It
was a WordPress. Yeah. It was a WordPress.
My God.
And that's why we used MediaFire, because MediaFire, you could copy the download link into the post on WordPress, and Apple would read that thing into their feed and upload it to RSS feed that way. It was like a plugin. So, because back then there were only podcasts, but Spotify wasn't doing podcasts.
No, we're not.
Stitcher wasn't a thing. Like, the only other option than Apple was SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Because podcasting in 2015 wasn't like a thing. It wasn't
a big thing.
Back in 2015, Rogan was in like the 500s in his episodes. Now he's in like 2,400. So. Like, not every comedian, not every wrestler had a podcast in 2015.
Yeah, and
so it was just a very different. It's been interesting seeing this industry evolve.
Yeah.
Over the last 10 years, what I personally got right, what I was completely way off on. But I owe my career to this.
Yeah,
so.
it's pretty crazy how we've been doing this, or the show's been existing for this long, and we have had, in particular, so many interesting people on who. One of the things I'm proud of is the people that have been on our show that have gone on to do also like awesome things. Ram with Dan, obviously. Issa comes to mind as one of my first ones. Like, Issa blew up. And I'm proud that we had those wrestling girls on back-to-back weeks. Yep. We had Eddie Kingston on, which is which people love that interview.
Yeah.
We had Brian Idol. We talked about the sausage party. We had Retro Anthony Green on. We had Josh Briggs on, who's a really cool guy. We, obviously Fretz and Danny, and unfortunately Slack was also on here. And some of the people we had on the show ended up making their own podcast. We had Mr. YLP on, and just finding the people through the podcast community has been awesome, especially Mance. Obviously, we can't do this show or talk about this without Mance. Still probably to this day the best single man wrestling podcast I've ever listened to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, definitely.
It's a shame, he, for whatever reasons, he had to, obviously stop doing his show. But I miss I could listen to Mance all day about anything. He is a fantastic storyteller, even if it's not about wrestling, because he's done shows and episodes not about wrestling. And he's fantastic podcaster, even better human being. Love Mance.
The podcast. When Mance and I podcasted together, that is low-key some of my favorite podcast work ever as well. Because we did a bunch of stuff together during COVID. Mm-hmm. That's when I was doing double duty.
We were doing a lot. Me and you did a little show during COVID too.
We did Love and War. Wow, I podcasted. Wow, I really was like a really wanting to be a podcast empire during COVID.
We had none of us had anything else to do.
I went on everybody's shows. I went on those Wrestling Girls a few times.
They specifically requested you.
I had so much fun working with them. They were a really fun show to do. We did Love and War for a while. And so much shit has changed since all of these shows.
We could do bring back Love and War randomly.
I wanted to talk to you about this, but since we're on the show,
we have talked about this offline.
No. I specifically want to do a Love and War after my wedding.
Okay.
To like reflect.
Yeah.
Because when we started Love and War, I was like embarrassingly desperately single and like going through it, and I think it would be fun to revisit that project 5 years later, like being like newly married, like in a long-term relationship. Like I would like to compare and contrast.
I'll interview you and you tell the story, because my situation hasn't really changed. So there's that. But I mean, listen, I do love interviewing people for podcasts. It's great. We also can't forget some of our other big hosts, our big guest hosts. We've had Taylor, who's been on the show a couple of times. We had Smiley. It was also pretty awesome meeting Smiley in New Orleans, which is that was awesome. Meeting Smiley in New Orleans. Balor Club guy, who, if there's a big wrestling event going on anywhere in the world, Balor Club guy's probably there somewhere. That kid is amazing, and always great with him. Obviously, my friend Sir Charles, who's been on the show multiple times, brings a very interesting perspective to wrestling at all times. But before we move on and even just riff about other stuff as well, kayfabe, we need to. So UK were initially a fan found through the interwebs. You obviously helped. You was a founding member of the infamous Valkyrie crew. You've been through a lot of stuff before you were an actual member of the show full time. So take us through this journey about like how you found us. We kind of know the answer for how you found us, but take us through this journey initially when you were a fan. All
right. So back in like 2016, 2017, I was a raging alcoholic. And I used to get really drunk during Raw and SmackDown and NXT. And I used to like get drunk and shitpost on Twitter. And that's how I became friends with Danny. And I eventually like started following everybody, like the show, Ricky, Will, Mr. Fretz, Slack. Like I eventually like one by one started following everyone. And I don't know, I feel like it just like happened so organically.
Yeah.
And then 2018 was when Evolution happened, and y'all bought me a ticket and we all went together. That was the first time we met in person.
One of my favorite shows of all time, by the way.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Like the chair is like displayed in my apartment. I still have that Becky sign it's hanging right above my computer. Yeah. The Becky sign, it hangs above my computer right now. Like Evolution was such a turning point, like in like all of our friendships. And like, isn't that how I started like guest hosting and stuff, like for real?
Yeah. What we did for Evolution is, remember, this is something that I spearheaded. The month leading into Evolution, we decided to have all female guest hosts.
You did the women,
We did
right?
all women. Kathy, who I ran into in Dallas a couple of years ago at Mania, was one of our guests. Kathy's really cool. Kathy's podcast is still going strong. Issa was on there. It was Kathy, Issa. It was a couple of other women that we also had on the show. So we just featured women the entire time. Obviously, we worked with Ramadan and did Susan G. Komen not Susan G. Komen. We did Memorial Sloan Kettering, because we also did the tailgate. You know, we bought the Sam Supper tailgate.
That was so much fun.
We raised like, I think, almost 500 for that tailgate. Superfan Izzy
and Jersey Mike's.
Superfan Izzy was there, because her family showed up to that. You know, we were lounging around Long Island a lot, and it's pretty funny because when I look back at meeting Kay for the first time, number one, it was supposed to happen like 8 or 9 months before. Kay had a birthday at SummerSlam, and this is when the Queen was down with us for SummerSlam, and the Queen had been talking about some person. It's the first time we're actually revealing this on the show. The Queen was talking about some person whose birthday that they wanted to meet up with, and we weren't able to find them. Lo and behold, months or so later, we found out that person was actually supposed to be Kay. So it's kind of fitting that the universe kind of put you together. But then we bought you a ticket. And my first time meeting you is I'm picking you up from the Mineola train station. like when you think about it, like as a more like functioning adult, like that's you're meeting somebody up and I'm picking you up from a train. You were at the train station by yourself waiting for me and just hopped in my car.
Dude, I have the same story with Nate, but at the airport.
Really?
Yeah, he flew into Newark. I went and picked him up. I met Kay at Napoli's, the pizzeria.
Yeah.
Like after Ricky, you dropped us all off at Naps. I think. Let's see, Evolution. I was still living on Long Island. No, I was living in Hoboken at that time.
No, you're still on the island because
I
dropped you back home. Oh, maybe not.
No, I was in Jersey.
I thought you were on Long Island still, because I thought that was the only time we ever all lived on Long Island.
I think that was the only time.
Was that 17 or 18?
18.
18?
Yeah.
It was October, right?
Yeah, October 28th.
Yes.
I was in Hoboken.
Maybe I forgot.
Yeah, because I got.
Did I drop you back off at the train station at the end of the night? Is that
probably?
Yeah.
Probably.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. But yeah, that was really pretty much how it all started. We've also it's a crazy time, but yeah, what drew you to us, Kay, by the way, besides, just following all the people that liked us?
Ricky on Twitter.
I have
a way.
I liked y'all were just like real people. Like this, I never got it. I wasn't into listening to podcasts before podcasting myself.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, I did not listen to podcasts at all. Like, low key thought podcasts were annoying.
I get it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, it's like there's a stigma. I feel it now when I tell people that I host a podcast, but I feel less bad about it when I tell people how long it's been running. And that we seem a lot more credible. When I'm like, we have 400 episodes.
Multiple award nominations.
10 award nominations, 10 years running. Like,
most people don't make it to episode 10, let alone 10 years.
That's the thing. Like, yeah. Like, I like listening to other people's takes on wrestling. And like, I got the vibe, especially from like the Will, Ricky, and Dave that I met, that y'all were just three friends talking shit about wrestling, and I liked that.
Exactly
because what I love talking shit and watching wrestling, and I also love talking shit about wrestling. So it felt like a really, for me, natural fit.
Yeah, our formula is very simple.
And then
what's going on in wrestling, and what do we feel about it? That's all it is. It's
like I was the guest star. I was the guest host that never left eventually.
Yeah, when unfortunately Dave had to leave, we had to find a replacement, and we shopped some people, and you came up, and we were just like, yeah, let's just slowly keep, asking Kay to come back. and
I had a blast like every time. I was nervous as shit the first time because like I'm rambly. Like, I also know that being like not a man, I felt like at least in the beginning that I might be like perceived more harshly and like scrutinized more because, especially my memory of the 90s is shot because I was a child. So like I don't have photographic memory of what was going on in the 90s. And I feel like a lot of people could shit on me for that. And like, you guys don't. And like everybody at war, like both present and past, have never made me feel shitty for like not having an encyclopedic knowledge of the sport, but rather like a genuine love and appreciation for it. And, weird takes.
Your weird takes are great, by the way.
Thank you.
Like Goldberg and Cody Rhodes.
I will say, as
there's something there. They're Southern boys.
They're both from Georgia. Yeah.
They are both from Georgia.
Yeah. The thing that I've noticed, the thing that I really tried to, or that really tried to harp on, is getting a lot more diverse guests. And I'm almost pretty certain of this. We've had more female or female-bodied guests on our show than we've ever had male.
I believe it.
You know,
Good for us, honestly.
and I know I've heard from people before. I think Danny in particular back at like 100, or to talk about photographic memory, where she talked about she liked the fact that we had women on the show and we didn't belittle them for their opinions. It came to me personally really early on that probably leading to what was going on in NXT and then the quote unquote women's revolution, that there's a surge of female like fans that need like a voice and need to be, need to be heard. And like I'm glad that we've been using our podcast to do that with a lot of people like Smiley, like Issa, those wrestling girls, the American Blonde Claire, who we've never had back on, who we really need to. Remember when Claire opened up our minds up about how AEW's like produced with the lighting thing?
Yeah.
And we were just like, wow, never thought of that before.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Every member of the Valkyrie has been on the show. Christina still hates you chewing on air, Will.
That's fair. That's fair.
She went off about that for like weeks.
Dude, that is a fully validated, you are correct pet peeve. And then Nikki Skywalker hates me for every other reason.
It's probably because of the work.
It was because of the work.
It was because of the work, which I have.
I tried to get out of a technicality. I technically didn't lie because you didn't ask me directly. But I learned really quickly that doesn't work.
I took artistic
with women. That does not work.
I took artistic freedom. I will say, I will have to give you, I don't know if I've ever said this on air, I have to give you UK kudos, you and the Valkyrie kudos, for trying to get us to give you different answers when we were all in the heat of it. Okay, luckily we figured it out.
Y'all are being shady.
Luckily we figured it out.
I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad.
Was that a planned thing?
I needed to know. I don't remember. Danny, did we plan that? I feel like if we planned it, we had to have discussed it in like the Snapchat group chat we used to have or something, but I like genuinely don't remember.
Yeah, because Danny talked to me, Nikki talked to Will, and I think you reached out to Dave.
That tracks.
All almost at like the same exact time, and then luckily for us,
that probably was coordinated.
Luckily for us, me, Will, and Dave were all in the same conversation. Be like, "Yo, did some of them talk to you about this? All right, how are we going to respond?" Oh man, yeah, we worked people a little bit too hard. I mean, Fretz almost had a crisis of faith.
Fretz almost like lost his Canadian politeness for like half a second.
Real quick, yeah.
Fretz like almost cursed at us.
Yeah. When it was all over, Danny read me out for like a day. I think the best part of that work is when we had to go to Evolve and we worked Wade.
God,
yeah.
That was the best part.
Wade
Wade the best
hated
part.
you for a day.
That was a piece of shit, dude. What do you want me to say?
It was great. Wade was actually a very good sport about it when it all got revealed. He was like, "Oh, you got me. Good job." Also, Jermaine from the UK, he was like, "Holy crap, you guys worked me." I was like, "You listen? Like, who are you?" I was like, "Thanks, Jermaine." Jermaine still listens to Mr. YLP and things like that, but the work is still just a bit of artistic freedom. I love everything that we did with that, even though it's controversial to some. I love the new KOTR logo that I slapped on, but you thought Will was hilarious.
That was so funny. You said that in the Facebook group, and I was like, "That's hilarious." It is so funny. So funny.
Oh man, cutting promos and stuff. Well, didn't you say that promo made you reconsider moving back home?
Not really, but yes, that is something I said.
Oh my god, it was what a time for the work. It's probably the craziest thing we've ever done on the show, deliberately.
If I could go back, I wouldn't have done it, but I don't regret doing it.
Understandable.
Yeah. Like in the end, if someone's like, "What's the biggest mistake you ever made in podcasting?" It would be like, "Don't make your name plural." And then the second one is don't play a prank on your audience.
And it's funny, the only reason we stopped it because Ant was like, "WrestleMania is coming up. We have a gala. You guys cannot do this." And we were like, "You're right."
Oh my god, the Hardy Boys are wrestling.
And apparently Santino came out to his NXT theme. I mean, to his WWE
Amazing.
theme.
His WWE theme?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it is great.
Amazing.
But yeah, as I guess we can start the close up and go to the post show and things like that. Kayfabe, any final thoughts for the 400th episode of this show?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been in a very reflective mood coming up on 400. So much has changed since I joined KOTR. I
sure.
was a mess. I feel like like Will was saying, like I owe so much of like my career to KOTR. Like KOTR is what low-key kept my resume like not empty and sad during COVID. And I was able to use, my podcasting and my social media ambassador skills.
You're welcome, by the way.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
No,
I love it.
I swear to God, like it works.
It's a working title. That's how you got a job.
It is a working title, and it helped me grow in my career. It helped me grow as a wrestling fan. Like I perceive wrestling so differently. And I already felt like I have a very unique perspective on wrestling, like having experienced, the indies very briefly and like now podcasting about it for so long. Like I have learned a lot in the last like 6 years doing this with you guys. And I am so grateful to work with you both and continue to make episodes every week. And I'm so grateful to everybody that listens to us and is still listening to us like many years later. So like, Thank you. Y'all, like, we would not have a podcast if nobody was listening to us.
Yes, we would.
Yeah. As I was saying it, I'm like, that's not true. We all like to talk. I'm being polite. We'd still do this without y'all, but we're really glad you're here. So thank you.
I hate you. Will Tarashok, founder proprietor.
I think my proudest moment is episode 100. That is still my favorite moment.
100 is one of our best produced episodes ever.
Yeah, it's like just in podcasting in general, my goal was to have a podcast hit 100. 100 is always just like, okay, if you can make 100, you've officially made it.
Yeah.
Like after that, the audience was kind of start coming in on its own, and kind of sort of true.
Yeah.
But now, this is just my playroom. It's my playground. It's where I have fun. I don't think about work. I don't think about numbers. I don't think about like what clips I have to cut for people. I don't think about an invoice. I don't think about fucking nothing. I just talk about wrestling with my friends and have a lot of fun. And I think the thing I enjoy the most nowadays is our Discord.
You do love the Discord.
I do. I just love seeing people post shit and like just going back and forth with like the memes with Frets and the Tip of the Crown group. Like, our Discord is a lot of fun because that's actually where our fans are. You know, it's like go to where your fans are. Our fans are on Discord. Some people I don't even know in there, but like it's cool. It's active to the point where it's not annoying. Like it's not every 5 minutes I'm getting a little boop boop sound on my computer where I can actually follow along, or it's actually separated to a channel where I'm looking at it right now where it's literally World Wrestling Sanctum. I can just ignore that. I have no idea what that is, but I'm glad.
That's anything that's not a major promotion. That's why.
I know. I'm glad Frets and YLP can go off on it for months.
Yeah.
Right? And just do all that. So I really enjoy our Discord, and I like how also we've kind of not winded down our schedule, but it's kind of like, we're not afraid to take a week off. And I'm not saying the show has an end date, but as, we get older, Kay's getting married. I'm probably getting married next year, fingers crossed. And, Kay, I don't know what you and your partner have an idea for children, but as that happens with us, who knows?
Yeah, we want kids.
Yeah, who knows how long that's going to, continue. But I'm going to keep doing this as long as we're having fun, as long as we can go. 400's been a hell of a ride. Next up is 500.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I will say this.
We definitely have to make it to 500.
We definitely have to make it to 500.
We can make it to 5. We can make it to 5.
At this point, we have to.
Yeah. It'll be another like 2 years. We can make it to 5. But I will say this, as Frets did remind me that we did have a lot of people crash 100, which I thought was a great thing.
Oh, it's my favorite thing ever. It was my favorite thing I've ever done in podcasting, episode 100.
If it's one of those things where it's like, if you wanted to know what we were all about at our core, I'd be like, listen to episode 100. Point blank, period.
Yes.
because it's not only us in, with me, Will, and Dave, but it is Kay. I believe you're on 100 as well. It is the people
I am on
that
100.
love the show and that still listen to the show, or at this point still watch the show, all on the same show, talking about how much they care and appreciate that show. That's the opening with Ant too as well.
Yeah, it's when we officially joined Rant with Ant.
Officially joined Rant with Ant. So that is
God,
probably
I was so excited. I was like, dude, we made it. Sky's the fucking limit from here.
Yeah, we were like, we're getting merch.
And then Rant does what Rant does. He just loses the passion and fizzles out for a few months and does something else and makes it really big, then fizzles out and does something else that's really big and fizzles out.
Yeah. He still got the paint store, though. Still has his paint store,
And he's got the 2 kids.
I get it.
I'm not giving him shit. I get it. It's just a shame because, like, his Disney Channel, right?
Yeah.
His Disney Channel was actually very successful, popping up. I'm like, he's definitely making money from this. And then it's just like, I can't do it anymore. I'm like, that sucks. That really sucks. I'm sorry for him to see that, but now he's gonna have to do something else probably. So.
Yeah, that's what Ant does, and like honestly, without Ant and without us taking that leap with Ant at Rumble 2018, we probably not. We don't take the next step. We are very fortunate that we had Ant take the time out of a wild day at the Rumble, to talk to us. To talk to us, take a picture with us. We also met Issa that day. Talk to us, take a picture with us, and take our card and listen to us.
We had business cards.
Yeah, we have business cards. Speaking of which, another person who was really generous with their time, Andrew Zarian of the Matman podcast.
Yes.
Met him at an indie show. Oh my God,
so generous.
Met him at an indie show, put us over immediately online, and then started scheduling a show with us. Also, we lost contact. Obviously, he's moved on to Wrestling Observer and all that stuff, and him and Rich are still doing great things. But we would be remiss without shouting out Andrew Zarian for all that he wanted to do for us, and also just being completely and absolutely generous with his time as someone as big as a name as he is in the world of wrestling podcasting. For him to take the time out with us, take pictures with us, do a promo video with us, like all of that was spectacular. So shout out to Andrew Zarian, really cool dude. But, in my opinion, when thinking about this podcast, I was at a really interesting time in my life. I was kind of a pretty serious medical condition. I was kind of really getting myself back into the world and kind of really rethinking my place. I had just finished grad school. I was trying to get like a big boy job and things like that. And then, and I found Dave. Well, Dave and I had been friends throughout my time in grad school, and then we met Will, and as I was starting getting back into wrestling, in grad school and stuff, this kind of fits in a really, really weird way. And I'm happy to say that, we stuck with it. I started as the third man, which is kind of just a really funny NWO spoof for a while. It worked. I was able to just bring my moniker over that I created at dive bars on Long Island and use it for a podcast persona. Shout out Parlay and Dizzy's and McKeeves and Nachos and all the places where I've MC'd. It's even Minnesota's and Long Beach and all those places. Social. Oh my God, rest in peace. I love that place. The King Ricky Monitor comes because I was a dive bar MC. That's the truth of the matter. With everything, but I am so fortunate that you will in and of itself trusted me enough to take over the reins at a point in time to continue this. To continue this thing, to now hitting, the 10-year mark and 400 episodes, and also now getting back-to-back Best Wrestling Podcast Award nominations, which is still bonkers to me. So and I can't thank you enough for entrusting me with this and to keep this going.
Dude, that was my punishment for letting Dave go. I was like, I can't be first chair anymore. I'm serious. That was my punishment for myself, because I already said I would never boot Dave off the show, or I would never let Dave leave the show. And then what happened. I was like, oh fuck, I guess we kind of have to.
Yeah.
I can't. I guess it was like a, I live by my principles. Now it's a personal principle.
Yeah.
For me. So it was just something I had to do. And I don't know. It's actually way more fun for me being second chair. So
the pressure's off of you.
Yeah. Just like, I show up. Are we talking about? Great. Let's do it.
Yeah, but listen, I love being first chair. I love doing this stuff. I love prepping the show. It's become just like a part of my week in and week out routine. And I think I've got it down packed, with us going live during the pandemic.
Yeah, structure and skills to have.
And personally for me, I met some of the best people of my life through this wrestling podcast. I don't meet Will or Kay or Danny or Fretz or anybody like that in this wrestling podcast community without Dave. And Dave being like, hey, just come and watch the show. So like
100%.
We are nothing without Dave. Like we are nothing without a lot of people, but Dave is the literal catalyst of the show. And everything that happened with Dave, and that's fine. Dave understands that. We all understand that. Dave's been back on the show before, and things like that. But that's why Dave is also in our intro video, which no one heard this time around, but we're going to fix that. But because Dave is a huge part of this show. And so is everybody else who I've met. And it's made my wrestling experience from more of a solo thing in a silo to more of a community. We've even the Vaz family.
The Vaz family.
The Vaz family we made.
And
shout out to those guys too. I don't want to, and Johnny's in high school, I think now.
Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, things like that.
We're so old, guys.
Yeah, right. And so, but like it is amazing what the podcast really told me. It's amazing the power of community, with a particular subject matter. Like wrestling is fun and it's great, and I'd probably watch it without this community, but it's so much better being in a community and being able to go in events and be really immersed in the community. Like we can go to events and just run the Balor Club guy and it's not a big thing, or even Hulk Hogan guy that we randomly meet at WrestleManias all the time. And it's not a big thing, or seeing the Vaz family show up, or just anywhere in the world. You never know who you're going to pop into. Like even Will knows this. It was like the Raw after Mania this year, and we were walking through the corridor in Philly and we ran into Issa.
Yes, we did.
And it's not a weird thing, and I think that that's a great thing. It makes the experience better. And I mean, and the wrestling community, for the most part, outside of the interwebs, is a very welcoming and weird community. Like meeting Smiley, someone we had never met before, on Bourbon Street and getting drunk with them, we probably can't do in any other fandom. When you really think about it.
Yeah.
So the
football, you might go fight someone.
Definitely.
But that's not fun.
Especially college football.
That's not fun.
Yeah. So it's a testament. Like we get the 400th episode because it's a testament to the community that we've been able to immerse ourselves with, and also the community that we were able to build ourselves around this. So thank you all for contributing to this 400th episode, and we're going to make it to 500, and we are going to get Danny back on this show at some point in time, because it's been very, very, very long since she's been on the matriarch of the family. But with that being said, I guess it's time to hit that new outro, right?
Let's do it.
All right.
Yay.
You might have to loop it because it's only 2 minutes, so we'll see.
Oh shit, good call.
Yeah, as you figure that out. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kings of the Rings podcast, our milestone 400th episode. If I throw it back real quick, I am your host, King Ricky Rose. You can find me on all social media outlets: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, some people's DMs, less people's text messages, BIGZ, Ambassador Biggs. Find Kings of the Rings podcast at KOTR_podcast across all social media outlets. Like, share, subscribe. Links to all of that are in the description below, especially some of our merch that is still on sale, which we have to upgrade for a little bit. If you're listening to us, make sure you're listening to us on Wrestle Addict Radio, the cure for the Common Wrestling Podcast, home also to the Young Lions Perspective Podcast, for the Brace for Impact Podcast, and the WrestleMania Podcast as well. Follow Wrestle Addict Radio at addict_wrestle on Twitter, because I'm not calling it X, and at Wrestle Addict Radio everywhere else. Will Tarashok.
Yeah, man, 400 in the books. Let's see what we got next week. Let's see what we got for 401, 402, 403, 404. We're going to skip 405 and go straight to 406. Because
we might have done that once, didn't we?
We might have.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Our numbers might be off a little bit.
Our numbers are 1,000% wrong.
Yes, they are.
And I would be remiss to say we never talked about the best segment we ever had, which was 205 of 205 Live.
Yes. Oh my god, I forgot about 205 of 205 Live. That was a good logo we made too for that one.
I was like, no one watches this. I'll give you 2 minutes and 5 seconds to talk about it. Go. That's all you're getting. And I cut you off and we kept on going.
Oh my god, kayfabe, take us home.
We're going home, country roads, to the
Stop. I hate that
where we belong.
Oh my god.
You can find me on social media. at K_Fabe. Let's go home. Country roads.
Jesus Christ. When we come back next week, we do have to talk about AEW Revolution. We're going to talk about the fallout from Elimination Chamber. We might need Slack on for the show.
Yes.
Yeah, talking about the fallout from Elimination Chamber and all that that entails. And we're also going to talk about the Elimination Chamber experience, because I can't leave the show without saying a surprise. Goodbye, good night, and I'll be seeing all of you crazy Canadians this weekend in Toronto, because I will be going to Elimination Chamber. And hopefully I get to say fuck you, Slack, in person. See you soon. This has been a Wrestle Addict Radio branded podcast.